Are you struggling to build a narrative to your trades? You learn the concepts from your mentors, gurus, whatever. They teach you the concept, but they never teach you how to implement the live data market. And you never know. So just quit, just change your strategy, right? And today we're going to be talking about how to build a narrative. So narrative is very important, right? Every trade should have a logical reasoning. Every trade should have a narrative. The more the narrative, the higher the probability. The less the narrative, the less the probability of the setups working in your favor. Wrong liquidity is very important, which the narrative goes supposed the narrative should definitely have a drawn liquidity in a higher time frame. The narrative should definitely have um entry a logic behind it, right? To the higher time frame. So that the higher time frame is bullish, your lower time frame narrative should point up to the upside. It should make sense, right? Let's go over it. Our weekly drawn liquidity, you can see, and this narrative. When I say narrative, I mean about the price and time based narrative, right? Yeah, but we're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into the time and price based narrative how to build it right now. Later on, right? You can see our high time drawn liquidity is bullish. The weekly CRT low got purged. We go to CRT high, right? So our higher time drawn liquidity is bullish. You can see on a daily time frame. Now, this is where we built up narrative. Weekly, as well, we could build up a narrative here because as well build a narrative. Our narrative is CRT low got purged. We go to the CRT high, right? That's our first narrative. Second narrative could be, market pressure at a low, pressure at high, made a daily range, low. This is a daily range right over here. This is discount. This is premium. We tap the discounted area. So in this case, the daily range is pointing to the upside, right? So we go to the daily range high after the discount gets hit, right? So you got tapped. So we're going to our drawn liquidity become a daily range high right over here. So now we're building up more narrative. IRO to ERO, we're building up more narrative, right? We have a daily CRT to the upside, which is the drawn liquidity right over here. Building up more narrative here, right? You can see how we're building up more narrative. So if we take a setup to the upside, now it becomes a higher probability. Please keep in mind these is price-based narrative and time-based narrative, okay? And on the 4-hour time frame, we're looking for a 4-hour near continuation. So we're building up more narrative here. That's another narrative, right? So on the session, we had a delay position profile for New York. We had a near continuation. So if I'm bullish, I want a position to make the low of the day, not the high of the day, right? In this case, we're building up more narrative now, right? What else do we have here? Let's see. This IRT did not get tapped, so we're not going to, that's not a narrative yet. The next narrative, that CRT low got purged, so now we have another narrative. We have our confirmation, which is another narrative, and we have our key level, which is the sales liquidity, which is another narrative, right? See, building up narrative here. Another narrative would be in this case, we'll have to go to the 5-minute for that. Would be a reversal, retracement, expansion, retracement, expansion, reversal, retracement, expansion. We're building up more narrative to this, right? We're building using market profile, using daily ranges. In this case, the order flow is bearish. That makes our narrative less probability, but we have enough for this trade to go in our favor, right? We have enough for us to take this trade, right? Yes, he may still go on a loss. Some of your trades could have the highest narrative, but you're still going to lose, right? Some of your trades may have the worst narrative and may still go to a win, right? In this case, you can see this one went to a win. Right? I did not take this trade because the CRT low did not have a legit low, so I did not take it, right? Rules are rules, so you got to follow them. And that's that. You can see how we're building up narrative. It's this one specific trade. This one specific trade has a lot of narrative, and the people who paid attention were missing one extra narrative. What is the last extra narrative? It's a classic expansion week profile 2. Monday made a low of the week, so looking for a knee. We're looking for a classic expansion week profile 2. So now you can see building up even more narrative, especially in the higher time frame. This is the daily time frame. Building up a lot of data around this time frame is very important, right? Because this is how the market will go to, because the higher time frame, the higher the power, right? So you have a lot of narrative to the upside on a daily time frame. Market is higher likely to go do that, right? You can see that said our adrenaline becomes a CRT high because CRT low got purged, so our adrenaline becomes a CRT high for that Pacific day. In this day, our Pacific drawn liquidity, when we're looking for a near continuation, you can see the 9 a.m. candle pushed up, so that would be considered a near continuation. Yes, you can see it went down. I mean, your drawn liquidity ought to be met, so there's no reason for you to stay in the market, right? Right over here is drawn liquidity right over here, right? You can see how more narrative to this trade. market is trending, so you don't need to look for a daily range. We're building up a lot of narrative to this one specific trade right over here, right? And this trade leaded us, if you would have taken it, me personally, I would have not, would have made you a 5.2 RR, right? You can see there's one is the reason this trade worked out in our favor was because we built up a lot of narrative, right? We had a daily profile, weekly profile, we had daily CRT, weekly CRT, we had daily range. So the dollar could become the daily range high after tapping the discounted area, right? We had daily IRL to ERL, right? We had a hourly KOD, right? Guess of that, the last total soup before making a drawn liquidity, which is the hourly KOD to the drawn liquidity because of daily CRT, right? And our drawn liquidity for the Pacific day is all over here, not anywhere but here. Why? Because we have a near continuation. So we're building up all those narrative here, right? We have a daily, we have an hourly CRT, another narrative. We have a. That's it. We don't have it. The entry could not be a narrative because actually we do have a market profile, right? You can see expansion, retracement, expansion, reversal, retracement, expansion, right? We're building up a lot of narratives, right? You can see expansion. Eventually, market did a little retracement, another expansion, did another little retracement, another expansion, retracement, expansion, right? Meaning draw on liquidity. Simple as that. You can see one Pacific trade has at least 10 narrative, 10 concept to one Pacific trade. The more the narrative, the higher the probability. The less the narrative, less the probability, right? But keep in mind, you may have the highest probability in the setup. In this case, this to me would be considered a lower probability because the CRT low does not have a legit low. To me, would be considered a lower probability, but it still worked out, right? The lowest probability will sometimes work out. The highest probability will sometimes not work out, right? So yeah, just focus on probabilities. Just let your winners eat your losers by a hecton. My winners eat my losers by a hecton, so I don't care, right? So this is how you build a narrative. This is considered to be a time narrative and a price narrative, right? As you can see, when I talk to you guys about, building a narrative, it's, the things I said about the narratives, I didn't even go in depth into this, right? Another narrative would have been we bought at a Pacific time. That's another narrative. So we bought it during a Pacific time, which is 8 to 9 a.m. and 9 to 10:30 a.m., right? Pacific time. Our range was during a Pacific time. Our range low got purged at a Pacific time, 8 to 9 a.m., right? These are all narratives, right? So this is why it has way more higher probability of working out. And you can see I didn't even go in depth into this, right? And I still have made so much narratives. I've made over 13 narratives to one Pacific trade, right? So yeah, this is how you build a narrative. You could build through time and price-based narrative, right? Which in my ATU free Mastermind CRT bootcamp, we talk about time and price-based narrative. I think it's in chapter 12 or 13. He talks about, time and price-based narratives. And yeah. Thank you for watching. See you guys inside my Discord. Peace out.